Right now, a fire in Fitchburg leaves multiple horses dead, what we know so far. Also, a Montana man is looking to have 50 dates in 50 states, and he's made his way all the way to Wisconsin. We'll take you to see his quest for love. And one Wisconsin town could face the harsh reality of not having protection as its entire police force quit. We take you to Arcadia, Wisconsin. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. A tragic start to Mother's Day as 4 people are dead and 4 others are critically injured, and hundreds are displaced after a massive fire broke out at an apartment complex on the 227th Highland in Milwaukee this morning. Palvina Osta was there and is reporting on the scene with residents who now have no place to call home.
You got people jumping out of the building, people jumping off the 4th floor.
On Sunday, flames tore through the Highland Court apartment complex on Milwaukee's west side.
People lost their pets and everything. It's really bad.
People broke windows and tied bed sheets together to escape the fire.
When I got outside, there were people hanging out of the windows. Some had already jumped and others were asking for help.
Highland Court resident Emerald Gransberry,
When I opened the door, the whole hallway was in flames.
lives on the 3rd floor. He says his whole apartment filled with black smoke.
I never made it out of the apartment. I was rescued out of the bedroom window.
Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky says the 85-unit apartment complex was built in 1968 before sprinkler systems were required by law.
You make absolutely no mistake that dramatically impacts the survivability in this building once a fire starts.
A second-floor neighbor who did not want to be on camera says his neighbor was among the 4 people killed. How did you know it was him?
I actually saw him.
Chief Lipsky says more than 20 fire units and 8 ladder trucks responded. He believes the fire started in a common area on the 3rd floor.
The speed with which these alarms are transmitted is indicative of the seriousness of this situation.
Chief Lipsky says the building is completely uninhabitable, leaving hundreds without a home.
That's another problem. We are always working to develop new shelter opportunities so that we can mass shelter people in off-site, especially an 85-unit apartment building.
The fire department is investigating the cause of the fire.
The American Red Cross of Wisconsin is helping those who have been impacted by the fire. They say a reception center is set up at Bethesda Church, which is just down the street from the apartment building. The Red Cross is also working on finding a shelter location. They ask that you call 1-800-RED-CROSS for assistance. Multiple agencies responded to a barn fire in Fitchburg Sunday morning. Crews were dispatched just before 4:40 a.m. to the 2500 block of Richardson Street. Fire crews confirmed flames and smoke showing from a 50 by 25 pole barn. The fire was successfully contained to the barn with all surrounding properties protected from damage. Unfortunately, 4 horses who were inside the barn died as a result of the fire. No other injuries were reported. The cause of the fire is under investigation by Fitchburg fire investigators. However, no suspicious activity or foul play is suspected. And joining us live from Madison's west side, meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us. We'll have a look at your first one forecast. Blaze?
It's going to be another beautiful day across central and southern Wisconsin as we kick off the next work week. It was a beautiful weekend. We had a lot going on. Commencement, Mother's Day, and we were treated to the nice weather, and it continues into Monday. As we're getting ready to plan Monday, you can see 7 a.m. about 53 degrees. By the late morning, we're already into the 70s before noon even. And then we're sitting in the 80s starting around the early afternoon, topping out in those low to mid 80s with plenty of sunshine as we head into the late afternoon, early evening hours. We're in the 50s and 60s right now. 66 in Viroqua, 56 Boscobel, 61 in Monroe, 57 in Janesville, 62 in Madison, as well as in Sun Prairie and Belleville. It's just pleasant outside. It's not humid. You can open up the windows. You can let in some fresh air this evening as we dip into those 50s. Now, we are going to see some rain chances move back into the picture starting later Monday night into Tuesday, and we're still eyeing the chance for some severe weather later Thursday. We have the latest on that severe weather outlook, the alert day Thursday, coming up in your full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. And you can track the forecast yourself on the First One Weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and even radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. One person is displaced following a cooking fire on Madison's west side Saturday night. Fire crews were dispatched to the 7,000 block of Flower Lane just before 6:20 p.m. for reports of a building fire, and crews had arrived and reported smoke showing from an 8-unit apartment building. Upon entering the building, firefighters encountered heavy black smoke and flames rolling across the ceiling. They were able to bring the fire under control just before 6:30. The blaze was successfully contained. In the kitchen area, the occupant of the apartment escaped without injury, and the cause of the fire was by unattended cooking, resulting in damage estimated around $30,000. A man from Montana has become an internet sensation with his goal to date 50 different women from 50 states. Matthew Waring traveled to Wisconsin this weekend, and he had a date with Quick Trip employee Samantha Benish. She is from La Crosse, Wisconsin. The two of them visited the world's largest six-pack and the Grandad Bluff. They had then dinner and ice cream. Waring says he prefers it when his dates do most of the planning. He has more than 700,000 followers on social media. He's also appeared on a number of talk shows and had articles written about his love venture. Residents of Arcadia, Wisconsin are facing an interesting dilemma. All of their police officers have quit. Kim Leadholm looks into who responds to the calls in the meantime.
Law enforcement follow the motto protect and serve. But what if no one is there to serve? That's what it's looking like in Arcadia.
In recent weeks, the police officers down there have all left that agency for other opportunities that are going on, leaving them without any police officers except for an interim police chief.
And the main question we've been trying to ask is why? We haven't really gotten a clear answer, but no, some took new jobs in and outside of the field.
It's not just unique to Arcadia. A lot of smaller agencies or law enforcement in general across the board are struggling to keep their employees or find new employees.
But what is unique to Arcadia is that so many left at similar times. The mayor telling us in a statement in part, many departments face staffing shortages or other issues. Ours just happened all at once. Our situation in Arcadia is unique in that our former officers moved on to new careers in a relatively short time frame, which has presented us with both a challenge and an opportunity. That opportunity, the mayor says, is to build a new department from the ground up. But while that happens, calls for help fall on the sheriff's office.
It puts a lot of strain on my deputies because of the additional calls they're taking, plus the normal routine that they handle here in the county.
Now, the sheriff's office is here in Whitehall, and that's where some challenges come in. Because the sheriff's office still has to respond to those calls in Arcadia, and depending on where deputies are in the county, it can take up to 20 to 30 minutes.
Some of these calls are going to be serious within the city of Arcadia and require rapid response times. And as a sheriff's office with the same staffing going on, we're going to have longer response times to get to those emergencies.
But whether it takes 5 minutes or 30, the sheriff's office says they will be there when they can, ready to continue to protect and serve.
Coming up next on News 3 Now at 10, Blaze joins us live in studio with a complete look of your first warn forecast. And President Trump may be getting a new Air Force One gifted by the Qatari government. More on that after the break. Plus, Pope Leo XIV returned to the balcony where he revealed to the world as the new leader of the Roman Catholic Church, this time to deliver his first Sunday address.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for staying with us. President Trump may be getting a new ride, courtesy of the government of Qatar in the Middle East. It's a luxury Boeing 747-8, and news of the plan is proving controversial. CBS News' Willie James Inman is at the White House with the details.
President Trump has already toured the 747-8. It happened in February when the luxury jet was flown to Palm Beach, Florida. CBS News has learned it's poised to be a gift from Qatar's royal family. It is not ready for presidential use and would need to be retrofitted. The president, who departs Monday to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, will use one of the 747s that have served as Air Force One since the first President Bush. The value of the gift from a foreign power is sparking legal and ethical concerns. Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin posting on X, The Constitution is perfectly clear. No present of any kind, whatever, from a foreign state without congressional permission. The White House press secretary says the administration will comply with the law. Also this weekend, new developments in the president's trade war following negotiations in Geneva.
Happy to report that we made substantial progress between the United States and China in these very important trade talks.
Tariffs already impacting West Coast ports and workers.
Almost every day you see lines, like half-hour and hour-long lines. The past week, nothing.
On social media over the weekend, President Trump described the negotiations with China as a total reset. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he'll provide more details on the deal on Monday. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
The Postal Service Board of Governors has tapped David Steiner to be the new U.S. Postmaster General. Steiner has been the president and CEO of Waste Management for 12 years, and he currently serves on the FedEx Board of Directors. Steiner is expected to start in July, and the Board of Governors says he will leave FedEx before he joins the agency. His appointment comes as President Trump has floated the idea of placing the independent government agency under the Department of Commerce. He and Elon Musk have also mused about privatizing it. Steiner will be replacing Louis DeJoy, who had stepped down in March. And Chipotle is planning on expanding its footprint, both in the U.S. and Canada. The Mexican Grill restaurant says it's opening more than 300 locations this year. 15 to 20 of those stores will be open in Canada. 80% of the stores will include a drive-through or Chipotle lane for digital orders. Chipotle says 57 company-owned restaurants have already opened during the first quarter of 2025. In its fourth quarter earnings, the company reported a total revenue of more than $11 billion in 2024, an increase of 15% from the year prior. A former altar boy who grew up in a working-class area of Chicago returned to the balcony where he was revealed to the world as the new leader of the Roman Catholic Church. Chris Livesay reports from Rome on the latest of Pope Leo XIV.
Before tens of thousands,
Buona Domenica,
and in impeccable Italian, Pope Leo XIV called for a just peace in Ukraine, a ceasefire in Gaza, and the release of all hostages. He even sang.
Hallelujah.
On Saturday, he took his first trip as Pope to a shrine outside Rome, and he did it in a van, not in a tiny Fiat like Pope Francis, whose tomb he visited afterward. That order probably was not incidental, says Vatican expert Francis X. Roca.
He foresaw that people would be ready to say, if he didn't behave like Francis, oh, maybe it's a step back, restoration, back to the Middle Ages. Or, on the other hand, if he slavishly followed Francis, people would say, well, he's not really his own man. So he's trying to do both.
Just take the Pope's name, Leo. The pontiff said he chose it because Pope Leo XIII addressed the radical changes brought by the Industrial Revolution more than a century ago. In 2025, Leo said, the world faces another industrial revolution in the form of artificial intelligence, a challenge Pope Leo might be uniquely qualified to address.
Leo is a mathematician by academic background, and when I spoke to him in 2012 and we talked about the church and the media, he spoke already extensively about social media. He was already on social media in 2012.
He sounds like a geek.
He is a little bit, I think, in a way that is now perhaps appropriate for our time.
Tomorrow, Pope Leo is going to make his very first appearance before the press here at the Vatican. He's expected to do so in Italian. But when he eventually makes his first papal flight, I'm looking forward to getting to ask a pope a question for the very first time in English.
Joining us live in studio, let's get a look at your first one forecast with Blaze Keller. Blaze.
And we are tracking the continuation of sunny and warm conditions as we start off the next work week. Also next week, we're going to add back some rain chances beginning later Monday evening and continuing pretty much through the rest of the extended forecast. We're also continuing to track the possibility of severe weather on Thursday, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. So let's jump future track through Monday into the Monday night time frame. That's when clouds will start to move in out of the southeast as a weak surface low pressure system moves its way backwards, retrograding, and it will bring us some showers, hit or miss showers as we go into the Tuesday morning commute time frame. And we'll keep the cloud cover through the morning, but then it starts to break up as we go into the afternoon. Still keeping that hit or miss shower chance as we go throughout the rest of Tuesday, overnight into Wednesday. And you can always track out those showers by using our First Warn weather app. As you can see, not everyone is going to see that shower activity as we go into Tuesday. But the better chance for more widespread severe weather or showers and thunderstorms is going to arrive Thursday into Friday morning. We still continue to sit underneath a 15% chance of severe weather. This is 5 days out. And we can kind of think of these severe weather outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center much like a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch. We're seeing the necessary conditions for severe weather, but does it all come together? This far out, the confidence is there that we will likely see across parts of either Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, or Michigan along this warm front here, the chance for severe weather. Now, our long-range models are picking up on this low pressure system off towards the Dakotas and its warm front, moving its way eastward as we go overnight Thursday into Friday. And along that warm front is where we could see isolated thunderstorms, which could produce large hail, maybe an isolated tornado or two. And then later into the evening, they will likely form a line of storms, which then we see as a strong wind threat. So we're going to continue to watch this because there is some possibility that this line of storms is broken. So we see maybe storms up into northern Wisconsin, a break here, and then another line off into Illinois. We're going to get a better picture as we get closer to Thursday. So stay with News 3 Now for the latest. Now is just the time to just make a little mental note that we could see some severe weather later next week. I've extended future track precip all the way out through our extended forecast with all the rain chances that we're seeing this week, and some of us could pick up a quarter to a half an inch of rain, others upwards of an inch. It's just going to depend on who sees the most rain over these next couple of days. If you're hit by a shower or two consistently, or maybe you just see one and then you have to wait a while. This is some great news. We really haven't seen any rain in the Madison area since at least the 3rd of May. Tomorrow, no rain until the evening and overnight. 80s for high temperatures, a little bit cooler off towards Milwaukee because of that lake breeze. They'll sit in those mid 60s. But take a look at the high temperatures across the Dakotas today. They were in the 100s in Lancaster, Minnesota, which is in far northwestern parts of the state. 96 in Bismarck, International Falls. They blew their old high temperature record for today by about 13 degrees. I think their previous high record in International Falls for today was 83, and they got to nearly 100. So we're not tapping into that heat, but you can just see where all that heat has been over the last few days. 70s and 80s this week, 60s starting next weekend, and maybe we slip into the upper 50s by the middle of that following work week.
Yeah, that map that you just shown, it kind of breaks that preconceived notion that once you get closer to Canada.
Oh, no, I mean, there's been times where Canada has been well warmer than we are, but I'll take the 50s over the 100s. Yeah.
Any day of the week.
And even the 90s.
Well, I can't speak for everybody. I know for me.
Oh, you can speak freely for me. I don't need that.
All right, Andrew, what do we have coming up in sports?
Coming up in sports, a heart-filled hit that was much more than a home run. A former Madison Mallards player gives his mom a Mother's Day gift she'll never forget. Next on News 3 Now. This past year has been a rough go for Bobby Portis. His home was burglarized. He was suspended for 25 games, and then his Bucks got bounced in the first round. And despite all of that, a change of scene is not what the mayor of Milwaukee is looking for. He has a player option that he says he wants to sign to stay with the team, but adds the Bucks may not necessarily want him back.
If you're looking at business-wise, like how do someone that's a GM of the team look at the team losing 3 straight years in the first round? So it all depends on how everything shakes up. I would love to be in Milwaukee. I love it here. You know, they call me the mayor here, right? So it's kind of hard to leave a city where you're the mayor. But, you know, obviously it's going to be up in the air with how they maneuver the roster, whatever they want to bring back. It's really going to be all on the organization.
And we are just 3 days away from the NFL releasing next year's schedule. Be sure to tune in to News 3 Now this Wednesday, the 14th, where we will have live and instant reaction and analysis of the Packers' 2026 slate. For all of the perceived marketing problems that Major League Baseball may have, they certainly know how to celebrate a holiday. Players were decked in pink from head to toe, and Christian Yelich was using a bat that his mom's name was engraved into. And in the top of the fourth, he used that bat to put one past the fence. A solo shot, courtesy of mom, ties things up at 1 apiece. And later in the frame, William Contreras wishes his mom a happy day with a blast of his own, giving the Brewers a 2-1 lead. And then in the eighth, Crew leading 3-2, and Rhys Hoskins hits one through the left side of the infield, ensuring a win for mothers all across the state as the Crew avoid getting swept and win it 4-2. And Corbin Dickerson, who was a star for the Madison Mallards last season, gave his mom a Mother's Day present she will never forget. He crushed this home run for his Indiana Hoosiers, fulfilling a promise.
Got a slider up in the zone, got my good swing off on it. Sent my mom some hearts up in the stands for Mother's Day. She told me to hit a home run for her today, so we got that part done.
Obviously a really, really cool story, and I think coming up after this commercial break, we may just have a surprise for our moms of our very own.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, let's go to some of these home runs. Christian Yelich, pink bat,
yep,
mother's name engraved on it. You can't leave the day without hitting a home run.
And the thing about Christian Yelich is that normally every player switches to a pink bat on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
He's kind of superstitious with that. He generally doesn't, but he's been in a slump lately, so he said, I may as well try it. And maybe he might just have to hold on to that bat and keep using it even after Mother's Day after today.
He probably planned on, probably encasing it and saying, here, Mom, here you go, but sorry.
Yeah, maybe in a couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sounds good. Thank you, Andrew. We'll be back with more after the break. And before we go, we here at News 3 want to wish you all a happy Mother's Day. If you look to your right, yes, that is me. I was in middle school. I didn't smile much back then, but I've worked on that a bit. And Blaze, I love the camel deer.
That is not a camel deer.
You and your mom are sitting with.
Yes. And there's Andrew and his mom.
Yeah, it's Andrew. Where are you guys at in that picture? Mallards?
That's it. I think it was a Nightmares game, actually, that night. Yeah.
Oh, I see the hat, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
And where were you and your mom, Blaze?
That would be in Japan.
And that picture, my mom and I, we were at IHOP.
Oh, fun.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Mallards, Japan, IHOP.
All
I think I
corners
won.
of the world.
I think I won. All right, a quick check before we go.
Yeah, let's see that 10-day real quickly. Sunny tomorrow, rain chances return starting Monday night.